All right, guys, we've done some heavy content lately. I'm not gonna lie. I know it's heavy content lately. So what I want to do over the next couple days, and really I want to be able to focus on this a little bit more, is I want to start getting some good news back into the channel because we've had to focus on a lot of drama lately. And I suspect that drama will be continuing to go on for a while. But we also want to make sure we're taking time to enjoy the absurdity of this entire thing. And that leads me to the story we have today, which is that embroidery has gone woke. Yes, most of you know that I came into this entire affair because I got caught up in the woke social justice nonsense in the knitting community. The knitting community. The knitting community. Isn't that pretty? That's what I'm working on right now. One of the many projects I'm working on right now. And it was happening on Instagram. These social justice warriors were going around bullying and mobbing anyone who disagreed with them. They destroyed several people's businesses. And that was one of the first times that I really kind of saw the impact of this ideology. Before that, it had been kind of like I was uncomfortable with it. I was uncomfortable with the stuff I'd seen at Yale. I was uncomfortable with the stuff I had seen at Evergreen State College because I worked in higher education. So I had seen all this stuff and I was like, those people are crazy. But I hadn't realized that it had made its way into the real world until I saw it directly in the knitting community. Now, I always hear about all of these other communities that have gone woke. Apparently, crochet has gone woke. Quilting has gone woke. And now, embroidery has gone woke. So we're going to read this story and we're going to talk about what I think it means. Before we get into that, I haven't shilled a product in a while, so I'm going to shill a product. And the one I want to tell you about today is Hempworks CBD oil. And I gotta tell you guys, so I had always wanted to try CBD oil. I always see it in the supermarket, and this is like totally my jam. Like this is the stuff that like I like. These are the types of remedies that are really my thing. But I never knew much about it, and I didn't have time to research. And then I found this Hempworks CBD oil, which looks like this. And you just get a couple of drops in it and you put it under your tongue every morning and every night. And there's so many benefits to it. First of all, like for me, the biggest benefit of it is that when I'm taking it regularly, it really helps my sleep. It really, really does. It also helps my skin. A lot of you don't think I look 40, and there's a reason that you don't think I look 40. No, I don't have a good moisturizing regime or anything like that. I really think it's because of stuff like this. So I definitely recommend you give it a try. This is the cinnamon flavor, which is actually, this is my favorite. It tastes like, if you remember those candies when you were a kid called Red Hots, that's the one I really like. I also have a orange sunshine flavor here as well. So lots of good stuff on mydailychoice.com. I will link it in the description below. Your support not only gives you some great products, but it also helps me and supports the channel. So you want to go to My Daily Choice, you can go to Hempworks for this CBD oil. I'll just show you there. You get lots of awesome stuff you can choose from, but there are other things as well. Like we've got these daily sprays that I've used, we've got essential oils, all the good woo-woo stuff that's awesome. And I will link this all in the description below so that you can find it and get it directly. And I don't show products that I don't believe in and that I don't use myself. And I give it 2 thumbs up. All right, let's get back to our embroidery scandal. The Royal Academy of Arts in London pledged to avoid stalking art by Jesta Walls after a social media campaign denounced her as a TERF. And look at that, they even did their own TERF embroidery. Who would have thought a mob would come wielding embroidery needles and hoops? Me? I would have thought that. For sure I would have thought that. Jesta Walls is an artist who makes embroidered artworks, and she is the most recent victim of a social media death by 1,000 pricks, pinned as a TERF by the community of vitriolic, thread-based artists Etsy sellers. It's always on Etsy. Etsy is also kind of woke, by the way, but I don't recommend that people just avoid Etsy entirely because the fact of the matter is that a lot of independent makers have their entire businesses set up on Etsy, and you're only hurting them when you avoid the website. Yes, it's woke. Yes, I know you don't like it. I get all of that. But the fact of the matter is that a lot of independent creators make a living because of Etsy, and you should still support them. And a lot of them don't have the ability to be set up outside of there. Etsy is simply the marketplace right now. If you really want to contribute, build a competing flippin' site. But I do not recommend boycotting Etsy because you're only hurting like the people that are, sewing things in their kitchens or like making things, or you're only hurting the people that are using it. You're not actually hurting the company. Anyway, on the command of a small clique of the Sewist orthodoxy. The Royal Academy of Arts in London has denounced de Walls after the crafty cabal called her artwork to be removed from their online store. This has been received with elation by the Be Nice crowd, who make money from badly stitched amorphisms and trendy slogans about niceness, feminisms, and cops being a word I'm not going to say. You can support Pride and TERFs at the same, you can't support Pride and TERFs at the same time, said one commenter on the Royal Academy's Instagram. Many others chimed in on unrelated posts of other people's works. So y'all feature a transphobe and then smack a pride flag on your PFP? This sentiment was repeated by realms of avatars I no doubt have ever visited the galleries, leading the Lazy Daisy chain email campaign to spam the RA with complaints about their partnership with someone who openly and boldly uses her platform to spread misinformation and hate, was aptly named Still Bitter Design. Still Bitter produces hoops of text art stating ACAB, kill the cops in your head, and there is no ethical consumption under capitalism. The maker then asks, without any hint of irony, that you buy their products, ditch your morals, and be a patron of their angry, simplistic cross-stitch. And this is pretty typical. This is exactly what we saw happen in the knitting community. These are exactly the same people doing exactly the same things. It isn't just the aesthetics that are infantile. The attitude is too. School bullies that rule apps and the museums listen to their nonsense yarns. The Royal Academy posted on the 16th on its Instagram story, which is relatively ephemeral, disappearing automatically, and in the comments section on a recent unrelated post. And here's what they wrote. Thank you to all those for bringing an item in the RA store by an artist expressing transphobic views to our attention. The RA is committed to equality, diversity, and inclusion and does not knowingly support artists who act in conflict with these values. Listen, if artists can't say what they want, then art is about to go to hell in a handbasket. And I'm not advocating for actual hate, and I think everyone knows that. But if you're going to reprimand artists for words or points of views that you don't like, you are just asking for art to go the way of comedy. Comedy now sucks. You want art to suck too? I sure as heck don't. I sometimes want art to make me angry. I want art to make me feel something. That is the entire purpose of art in the first place, to evoke an emotion. And sometimes that emotion might be hate, sometimes that emotion might be anger, sometimes that emotion might be, incendiary rage. I don't know what it is, but if art is provoking an emotion, then it's a good thing. The RA store previously stocked work by this artist when we were unaware of their stated views, and their work will not be stocked in the future. We appreciate you holding us to account on this issue, and we would like to reiterate that we stand with the LGBTQ+ community. Then they just say what it said again. This was received with absolute glee from what would cynically be seen of one of de Walls' competitors, Whimper, I don't know how to pronounce that. They wrote to the Still Bitter Design, did you hear the joyous news? She need dropped, to which Still Bitter responded, heck yeah, go team. So, do you see what they're doing? They're going after their competitors. Shocker. De Walls is no stranger to being stitched up by the gender cult. Writing in 2019 on the discovery of the transgender movement and her cancellation, she stated, I worry because the notion of wrong think and wrong speak feels eerily reminiscent of my East German childhood, and that's actually quite terrifying. Since then, her art has been thematically tied in with women's fight for sex-based rights and the ability to speak freely about the realities of our sex and social standing. She illustrates with complex trend patterns the moments of contemporary and historical protest and activist feminist movements. There is a snag in feminism. The fight for all women doesn't discriminate against the obnoxious ones. It's something painful reading from the nasty degrading comments from prickly young women who are regularly leading the charge against peers. We can tie ourselves in knots, try to blame men for their behavior for a bunch of non-binary identifying females, and then deny them cruelly applied autonomy. These women who use social media as a voodoo doll to stab textural pins into opponents, hoping the curses will be successful. They whisper rumors, pick scapegoats, stirring up a witch hunt, while they are truly a malevolent force. It is a similar trend to the arts and crafts cancellation of Canadian photographer and sewist Vanessa Vokey, who in 2020 was admonished and harassed and banned from various marketplaces for supporting J.K. Rowling. This capitulated into her new career as a controversial YouTube comment creator discussing on radical feminism, transgender ideology, much to the dismay of her detractors, who also got her original channel banned. Okay, so I have a question. Okay, I'm gonna go back to the heavy shit for a moment. There is an actual white supremacist on YouTube that is sending his mob into this channel right now, and some of you know who I'm talking about, and most of the comments on this video will probably be from his followers. Why does he still have a channel if gender-critical people are being banned? I am not in favor of deplatforming anyone, but if we're deplatforming a gender-critical person and continuing to platform an actual white supremacist YouTube, then, like, why? Why is there an imbalanced application in your standards? Fortunately, I'm sure DeWalls will turn into this horrendous situation into yet more artwork, as you should always do. Always monetize your haters. Always. People ask me, like, Carlin, why do you do videos about internet drama? You want to know why? You monetize your haters. You monetize them. You use them to fuel what you're doing. You express how you feel about it. I mean, like, doing something like this is just as much art, I think, as anything else. It is a creative process to go through, and I will monetize my haters every single day of the flipping week, because you always should take situations and turn them and use them to your greatest advantage. There's no use in being upset about something that happens. There's no use in being upset about getting canceled, because, like, it's already happened. There's nothing you can do. You can't go back in time. You can't change it. The only thing that you can do is utilize that to the very best of your advantage moving forward. So I have no problem with this. For creative women like Vokey, severe harassment and institutional bullying stirs them to be even more passionate and expressive. This is another panel in the tapestry of women's oppression and a distressing clash between forms of the women's protest needlework. There is a growing form of defiance in the women's movement, the attaching of green, white, violet, suffragette-themed fabric to objects coined as hateful haberdashery. The name lampoons trans activists' dramatic responses, sometimes involving the police, to ribbons and thread. A stitch in time could save 9 court cases. Art institutions will soon unravel if they ignore the recent legal rulings in the Employment Appeal Tribunal, which found that Maya Forrester's gender-critical views worthy of respect in a democratic society. Views that were just publicly potentially liable and used as a reason to cancel a contract and financially impact a woman. The RA should applique, I love all the puns, the RA should applique some ethics and some foresight. Maya's organization, Sex Matters, has also just sent the heads of the Royal Academy a stern letter. A sternly worded letter always does the trick. In support of artists, citing her legal right to free expression under the Equality Act and the European Convention of Human Rights. The Royal Academy should be ashamed of its behavior and sets a dangerous precedent for a collection and curators. Will Picasso, and I don't know how to say that name, be canceled for their trespasses and abuse? Or is it the only living women who stand up and speak the truth that are tossed out among the scraps? Listen, this stuff happens everywhere. And every time it does, it should be, we need to support the people who are impacted by this. So if you have the opportunity to go get some of Just DeWall's art, I know I'm going to be looking into it. I definitely recommend you do it, because this only works when people stand up for those who are canceled. If you can't buy anything right now, totally understand. Send her a note of encouragement. Send her a note of support. It is a sucky thing to be a target of a cancellation. I'm a target of one right now. I totally know. But when people are supporting you, it makes all the difference in the world. Even just a quick note, a DM on Twitter, a Facebook message, an email through their website, where however we can get in touch with her. We want to be able to support people who are, doing stuff like this, standing up for what they believe in. That's what's going to make all this work. All right, guys, if you enjoyed this video, I hope you'll subscribe to the channel. Help me balance out the nightmare that these trolls are doing on my channel. If you enjoy it, I do content almost every single day. I'm starting to do a lot more live streams. I really want to start interacting with you guys some more. I'm finding that very invigorating, very fun. But I also do content like this as well. If you want to keep in touch, subscribe down there below somewhere, turn on the notifications, and that's all I have for right now. I'll see you soon.